Before we dive into the meat and potatoes of this episode, I want to explain how this series is going to go. Essentially, I'll be addressing my opinions on various anime-related topics and controversies that I find interesting. Not every episode is going to be super serious. Some will be stupid rants about stupid things. In terms of frequency, this will kind of be a one-off series. I have no intention of doing daily uploads since it does depend on me finding a topic that I wish to discuss, and I know that isn't likely to be often. Also, I'm working on multiple projects, and I do have my normal job. Apologies in advance if my speech sounds a little weird. I just happen to get tongue-tied very easily. All of that aside, I really want to know what you guys think. I'm really interested in knowing your opinions about certain topics we'll be talking about. That being said, let's get into it. Welcome to the first episode of Your Wife is Trash, and so is the outrage over S.H.I.E.L.D. hero. Quick warning, this episode will have triggers regarding sexual abuse, so if you feel like you're going to be triggered by watching this, by all means, feel free to just watch something else. I won't take any offense, trust me. Any further ado, let's get into the episode. Tate no Yuusha. This is old news, but I'm sure we've all heard the false rape accusation and the slavery. All the feminists have lost their shit, and I kind of understand why. False rape allegations are a very serious thing. And no, we shouldn't trivialize the concept of rape or rape allegations. However, we need to tell the difference between a show, whether it's anime or real life, using something as a plot device and promoting certain ideas that are just not okay. First off, let's talk about the false rape accusations. In the first episode of Tate no Yuusha, the main character, Naofumi Itawani, is framed for rape by a woman named Malti. Everyone believes her over him, and this makes him big mad. Feminists are also big mad because in reality, rape is hard to report due to a main number of circumstances and even harder to prosecute. The anime only uses the concept of a false rape accusation as a plot device to explain why Naofumi hates this world he was summoned to. The anime itself is not implying that women always lie about rape. Now, if the next episode is a superficial hit piece on women, vilifying them as conniving scum whose only worth is in the kitchen and birthing children, then yeah, fuck this anime. Until it gets to the point where I'm seeing a pattern of sexism, I think people who feel some type of way or have some kind of trauma related to sexual assault need to be able to recognize their bias towards certain things and how it affects how they ingest media versus media that just has some fucked up shit in it. You know, media that really is sexist or anti-LGBTQ, or racist, etc, etc. Even I check my biases as well from time to time, which leads me to my next point, slavery. Now I'm not sure if you don't know this about me, but I'm black as fuck. I'm pretty damn proud of it, which means my ancestors were slaves. For some backstory, Naofumi being all emo and shit, runs into some creepy fuck who's all like, OMG, do you want some slaves? And Naofumi was like, heck yeah, I'd like some slaves. Paraphrasing, of course. It's the only way he can level up on account that no one likes him. The way the slave trader described the relationship between demi-humans and humans sounded all too familiar to the slave history in the US, which honestly made my skin crawl. Just like I mentioned beforehand, I too need to curb my bias and accept that it was just a plot point for him to get a party member. I don't like it at all. But I wouldn't condemn them for it because there's a ton of shows that do it. Game of Thrones had slaves everywhere. Literally a whole season dedicated to Khaleesi freeing slaves. It's a good fucking show and I'm really gonna be sad when it's gone. But you don't see people boycotting it, and it shouldn't be boycotted. Now if the next few episodes start sounding like Birth of a Nation, then yeah, we go and fight. But that wasn't the case in episode 2, so I'm cool. He really takes care of the girl and cares for her like his equal, which kind of defeats the whole point of her being a slave to begin with. Now for all those wondering, well Drew, what is an anime that promotes ideas that are really not okay? I have a great example. Anyone who has watched Oni and I cover last fall's anime season know exactly where I'm going with this. Dakiretai Otoku Ichi ni Odosarete imasu. Essentially, in the first episode of this series, the MC Saijo Takeda gets blackmailed by another actor named Junta Azumaya into having sex. Now I hope I don't have to explain why this is rape, but in case you're still confused, for the love of God, just Google it, because honestly I don't have time for all that. Now, this was truly gross because in my opinion, this highlighted some of the worst things humans are capable of, but it gets better. They start dating. Let me repeat that. Saijo begins dating his rapist. And the worst part is that this isn't even a drama / psychological anime of any sort. This isn't School Days, nor is it Kuzu no Honkai. This is supposed to be a love story. And it ends with Saijo and Junta moving in together and wearing couple rings. What in the Stockholm Syndrome is going on here? After the first episode, Junta then proceeds to kidnap and stalk him throughout the entire season. And everyone else just accepts it with smiles on their faces. And yes, during my podcast, I probably gave a far less harsh impression as time went by, but make no mistake, Junta is a sociopathic, rapist scumbag, and no amount of Fujoshi apologists will ever change my mind about that. Yes, in yaoi / shonen ai, the top is usually hyper-aggressive, especially when it comes to sex. They usually pin down their lovers in some fashion to initiate the sex scene. We can unpack that another day. My point is this act of blackmail / sexual assault goes well and beyond the conditions of this bad thing is used to advance the plot point. Cause no one rapes anyone to start a romantic relationship, at least no one sane. By starting the anime with such a setup and then having everyone support them through this journey of love makes the message they're sending very clear. Romance. It's not too late for you and you're a rapist. They could have both gotten drunk and fucked. Met up at a club and fucked. Could have done anything as long as the sex was consensual. But no, they chose this because some Fujoshi have very distorted fantasy of what guy on guy love looks like, and trust me, it looks nothing like this. Ultimately, do I think this portrayal is super harmful? No. Cause I remember watching the romance and shonen ai play out when I was younger and thinking to myself, this isn't how this works. And I feel like 99% of the gays have also come to the same conclusion. However, one can still argue that Dakiretai has a really gross underlying message to it, and honestly it'd be hard to say otherwise. Aside from the sheer joy of bashing Dakiretai, I hope you guys somewhat enjoyed this little rant of mine. What do you guys think? Do people get butthurt because of personal bias? Is Dakiretai covering the fact that Junta puts the Kuzu in Kuzu no Honkai? Will Oni ever finish rants? Give me your opinions below in the comment section, and while you're at it, also like and subscribe to our channel, GNA Reviews. Check out our Twitter, check out our Discord, it's diggity dope, and more importantly, check out Twitch, because after all, it is just Twitch. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this first episode of Your Waifu is Trash. This is Ruby Doo, and I'm out of this biatch. Bye!